goes another rubber tree pine?
There goes another rubber tree.
Now I came to rock, I came to move the crowd, I came to scream it out loud.
So I got hit up by a guy asking if I could do a couple thumbnail samples for a movie poster that he needed for his distributor. And you know, me being me, I was like, hey, thank you for the opportunity. This is such a great deal. I'm gonna jump right into it. And so I did, and I ended up giving him what I thought was probably some of the best thumbnails that I've ever delivered in my life. But they weren't. They were not good at all. Actually, like really pretty crappy. But I ultimately went with the main one with this guy kind of in a hero pose. From there, I sent it back to him. He kind of sent me one thing that he like designed up inside Photoshop. Now I did one in Photoshop, but mine is absolutely garbage. Please enjoy.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Alright, so what happened from this point is I just took everything into Procreate because I rock at Procreate. I suck at everything else. So I asked in my gig requirements that he give me screenshots or like, you know, headshots of the talent, but he didn't. So the one thing he did provide was like a trailer for the movie. So I ended up watching a trailer and having to take a screenshot from the trailer. The lesson that I learned in that is, yeah, it's cool, I can find certain shots and they're in cool hero poses, but when I'm trying to draw them, I had no like true reference of detail. I couldn't find anything about what they look like. I couldn't. I had to go hunting. Luckily, it was a movie that was registered on IMDb, so I actually found pictures of the actors and then went ahead and tried to get those. But even still, I couldn't kind of find the shot that I wanted to, you know, see how his eyes and mouth look from an angle from the side, the 3/4 view that he had. So, all in all, lesson learned is just really make sure if you're going to do a pure movie poster that they send you poses that they want, and it's a clear defined picture, so that way if you want to be a truist, you know, and you really want to draw it, then you actually have like a reference to look at, because other than that, this was totally such pain. So from there, after I got the pictures that I wanted, I was trying to figure out the mood of the picture, you know, the mood of the poster, what was really going on. He didn't really tell me. He kind of, at first, this was like, oh, it's kind of this thing, and then I later on had to follow up with the question to ask him for stuff. In the trailer, they're talking about like a necklace, so I tried to do like a little necklace design, as you can see. So then I took it, I photobashed some pictures together, created my own sense of the mood, and I sent that off to him, and he was like, oh, you know, I really like this. This is super dope. And then from there, he's like, hey, can you increase the monument in the back? And then he's like, hey, can you make the necklace a bit smaller? And this is like one of the lessons that I learned in that sense is those suggestions of changes, even because it was a thumbnail, I should have at that point started the commission, and that could have been like a revision, because then it would have been like more of an upcharge, upsell. I'm weird. I like to try to be honest with people and try to keep it, you know, 100%. But I realize if you're being a freelancer, every time I have to redo something, that's more time taking away from more elements of the picture I could have done, or actually finishing the design of the picture. So that was a lesson learned. Like, if someone asks for something, if someone asks you for a thumbnail and then asks you to try to change something in the thumbnail after you start bringing it into your actual primary sense of like software that you're going to be using, then that from that point on is a revision. So do that for yourself. I know everybody's like, Bree, you know, you can draw. Why are you why are you not drawing? Right? Why are you not doing this? One, this was for actually like a produced movie, and two, I was trying to, like, since this is my first big gig, I was trying to go hard. I wanted to show that I had the skills, so that's why I didn't draw to the fullest extent. I'm sorry if it hurt some people's feelings. That is my bad, but that was my whole, you know, 2 cents on why I didn't do it like that. But you know, everything turned out well. Like, I found pictures of the actress. I actually found hers via finding her website and taking pictures of her and then screenshotting it, cutting out one, putting it in there, and then I, you know, got a pencil, created a new layer, went over it with the white pencil and black pencils to kind of create that movie poster slash, you know, hand drawn appeal. And then, you know, I added in the strong highlights, the golds, those like lens flare effects. All this was just trying to really get the picture to look appeasing from afar, and that was a challenge. I worked on this thing for like 3 days, and this whole process that you're just seeing right now was in the first 2 days, and that was probably with 8 hours to 13 hours worth of work. You're paying me. I'm not going to fight you too hard on that. What you want, I was being genie in a sense. Your wish is my command, right? As long as you pay me the dollars, I'll make you holler. That sounds really bad. We're not gonna say that anymore. Anyway, so I drew it. I started drawing the stuff and started designing. And then at this point, it was starting to look really good. So this is when he started asking me, he was like, hey, can we change the pendant size? Now this is going back to my original point of charging for revisions. Even though this was at this point still me kind of creating it, I was already in the software, so this should have been a revision. So he asked me to change the pendant, and then he asked me to take off the necklace chain, which took me that long to me like an hour to design. And he asked me to do that, and then he's like, take out the chain, take out the pendant, maybe move the pendant here, maybe don't move the pendant there. Actually I don't like it. And then later on he was like, hey, can you try to put the title in there just so I can get a reference? I think what he was doing, because I kept sending him updates of screenshots, I think what he was doing was essentially sending those screenshots to the distributor, and then, or the producer was like, yeah, do this and this, and every time he said a change, that's when I should have upcharged to make more money. This is just me telling you guys, so for yourselves, like how to make sure that you're getting paid for what you're doing. This is a hard lesson learned, but it was my first attempt of a big gig at Fivver, so it was just a lesson learned for freelancing. Coming back full circle, right? This is more of the revision thing. He asked me, hey, my producer is asking, actually no, his producer wasn't asking, he was saying, would you like to add in like the military guy, and maybe we can put the meeting in the woods in the background, and from there maybe we can like add in all this stuff. So everything that I suggested ahead of time, he had essentially now re-asked me to put back in there. And this is just a lesson learned, man. Like, have a clear action plan on what you want, and then try to build up from there. So whatever, I took a screenshot of a guy. He actually later provided me with some stock footage. That's why I got an easy picture of this dude in the military outfit and this older gentleman. And then I added them in real quick, shot them in there, because I had been doing this now for like I think at this point I was like 18 hours in. So it was really quick just to kind of redesign it and put everything the way it was supposed to be designed in there. And then from that point, it was just finishing touches, adding shadows, adding details, making them look layered, adding the pencil layers over the top of the lights and the darks of the original photos to make it look like it had a hand-drawn style, getting rid of the border chain, bringing in the necklace, the pendant, to make it one of the centerpieces since it was the storytelling part of the picture, adding in a map design, even though the map is relevant to the trailer. It's like a secret, it's like a mystery thing of the trailer, and then adding in back in this meeting, and then how to make them all balance together without like taking up too much space. That was also another trick of like how to make it all fit together and how to make it all correlate in a way that made sense. So in the end, this was the final product. We added in all that, the map at the end, the guy, right, the old guy, and then at the very end he was like, hey, my producer said take those out. And so the original idea that I pitched was actually the idea that they ended up going with, which is just the two main characters, the guy, the military guy, and then the forest in the background with the pendant. But that was just lesson learned from me from my first time doing the product, from doing at least a movie poster on Fivver in that sense. Like lessons learned above all was, one, make sure they provide you pictures of what you want, or what they want to see, or different angles so that way you can work with them. Two, really, as soon as you jump into the software, as soon as you're in that software designing the final product, from that point on, it is revision. Anything that you send them as an update, if they tell you to change, it is a revision, and charge for it. Really, I would say third is, if you do a thumbnail, maybe if you have an idea like what you think it should look like, really go back and draw that in the thumbnail so they know for exactly what they want. So when they change it, also when this goes in revisions, then it's not too far and too abridged from the original concept of what you're doing, so you're not wasting time. Because as a freelancer, time is that's your pay. You know, that's what you're putting energy into something, especially for art and drawing and designing. It takes time and it takes an effort to do that. So I would say, moving forward, always ask for all the pictures. Always be really clear in the thumbnail and make sure you charge for your revisions. I like the project. It gave me, actually, this, like I said, is on IMDb, so I got an IMDb credit out of it. And now I finished it, and you know, a couple of days, like now this is obviously like 20 days later, but and he's already submitted it to his distributor, but it's good. And now also I know a movie director, which is kind of cool, here in Germany, so that's a random fact. My next video will actually be me reviewing, telling you what it's like doing a mentorship with Anthony Jones, like a great, really super dope concept artist, and how that month-long mentorship went. And then if you like, just go on my Instagram. You can already see some of the stuff I was drawing on there. If you don't, follow me on Instagram, which is Nerdy's Art Lab. Just look it up. If not, you'll see it next week in the video. So with that, guys, thank you, my beautiful nerdy family and my great people of the Art Lab. We have created another great project here for you today. Go out and create some great art. And with that said, I will see you guys next week. I love you, and stay nerdy, people.
Now I came to rock, I came to move the crowd, I came to scream it out.